Welcome to another issue of Solar Bootcamp. And today we're going to look at all the issues that Fringe is having with her system and go over the pieces and all that. Now, she made me a video. Link is up here and in the description. Go check it out and stuff like that. She did a video for me walking through her system. Well, I've sort of grabbed the video, cut it up into pieces, and highlighted components and all that stuff, and we're going to go through and look at all the details, and I'm going to present my analysis of what's going on. And if you are looking to buy an off-grid solar system or buy a house and all that stuff with an off-grid solar system that's already there, this video should give you some good tips of things to spot that are red flags. Important thing to watch out for there. Now, sometimes the deal is obviously way too good, and it's like, hey, we might as well just jump in on this and figure it out. That's what she did. Stuff like that. And when you got a great deal staring at you, yep, go ahead and go for it is what I say. It's like my house. My house was a great deal, and I've been fixing stuff ever since. But at least I know what's going on. I know how it's getting fixed up, and I know things are going to be really well. For any sort of major calamity, this house will be ready for it. Now, quick issue. Let's discuss what was she reporting as the issue in her system. Well, over the summer, she'd been doing all right and stuff like that. But now, with it starting to get colder and stuff like that, when the sun went down, the batteries would just drop off, suddenly saying, no capacity, real quick, and then suddenly, low voltage, and things would cut out on her. So she was looking around trying to find an answer of, hey, why am I not getting enough power here? And we got some answers on that. So that was the symptom she was describing. I initially said, check the tilt of her solar panels, stuff like that, look at some of the batteries and things like that. But once she got in contact with me and we were able to directly talk with each other and stuff like that, found out the issue was a little more systemic things. And we're going to go through all that. So let's flip around, get on the actual video, and you'll hear me talk through this and we'll look at everything. All right, hang in there, everyone.
All right, the video starts out here where she shows the solar array she has. It's actually on a decent little platform and it's got a decent angle to it. I think it needs a little work, but I know something interesting. So let's pause the video right here. Now, look at these panels on the end. Let me highlight them, show you there what I'm looking at. They look to be a different size, and I was concerned about that. So I sent her a question and stuff like that, and she sent me pictures of the labels. Turns out we have two different styles of panels. We got 10 of the 280 watt version and 8 of these 230 watt version. Okay, not a big deal, and we can definitely work with that. Just a couple changes. So that's here with the solar panels. Let's continue on. Down under we go. So she's going down here. We can see the underside of the panels and the wiring. It looks like a pretty good sized mess. It's kind of running over and above the wood, which I don't like. Anyways, now let's pause here. This wire I'm going to highlight so we can take a look at. I was really interested to find out about this wire, if it's real PV wire or not. So I had her send me some more photos, and we got two different types of wire here, the black and the red. Turns out, luckily, they're both the same gauge, and they're both PV wire. Now, we need this so that we can figure out what sort of cord grips we need to attach onto the solar combiner. So I needed the last little bit of information there so we can order the right parts so I can get her the list for it and stuff. But it's nice to see that it's real PV wire. All right, let's move on here. And goes down the whole way, just sort of tucked in under. See, I don't like how it goes up over the wood, but under the solar panels. I think it'd be better if we design sort of a raceway or something for all this. Now, what's interesting thing is I'm not seeing any sign of any solar combiner box. Doesn't appear to be anything related to that at all. We just got bundles of wire and everything attached. And that's a real problem, though. Because with all of the solar panels being different sizes and stuff like that, it means it's running in very unoptimal configuration. With different voltages and amperages used and tying them all together, not a good thing. And boy, is that a rat's nest. Oh, look at here, another little surprise. Pause on this. We've got a ground bus bar to work with. And that's actually real handy. It probably needs a little bit of work because we're in the outside and so on, and weathering conditions and all that. So with a little bit of care and putting in some antioxidant component, we'll be fine on reusing that. Shouldn't be a problem. Now let's continue on here. Yeah, looking down. Yeah, no sign of a solar combiner at all. Now we see the conduit where everything connects to. We got two wires here. And when I was looking at them, we noticed that they are number 2 welding wire. We'll get some close-ups of that. But no solar combiner, so these are all tied together. Well, right here in the output, we are going to put a solar combiner and get this optimized. Okay, let's run down this pipe like Super Mario Bros. And see what we find here. And look at here, got something. Let me highlight this for you. See that? We have a broken joint and the wires are exposed. That's gonna need some fixing. All right, moving on here. Let's go into the battery loom. Oh boy, have we got something here. Okay, the siren's going. We now have our first big red flag. Red flag for sure. What do we see here? Giant mess of wiring and different battery types mixed. Okay, let's highlight what I'm talking about by different battery types. Okay, this first section I've got highlighted here so you can see different offset from the others. These are AGM batteries. They charge differently. They have different characteristics and they age differently. You also can't equalize them of the same way. They should not be in the mix with all these other batteries. Now let me show you what these other batteries I'm talking about are here. See all these in the different color? All these are flooded lead acid batteries. In fact, both types are lead acid, but these are flooded. They have to be charged differently. They require a different care and maintenance schedule, and they need equalization charging. These types should not be mixed, ever. This is a giant red flag. Generally, this is indicating is the battery bank has been aging, and what they did is they just connected up some additional batteries to make it look better for now, probably when attempting to sell it. The other thing is the wiring is not ensuring we have equal energy going into the various different batteries. We're going to have to sort all this out. But big red flag. So if you're out there shopping for this and you see this sort of thing, yep, negotiate a lower price because this is not right. Okay, let's get going else. Now we transition over to the heart of the system. We have the inverter, the charge controller, and the various breakers. Let's start with the charge controller. Here, let me show you which one I'm talking about. Now the charge controller is very important to the system. It takes the solar energy and gets it into the batteries. But this one has an interesting thing. Here's the label to it. Now, you can see, at 24 volt, it makes 1,040 watts of power. I believe Picard says it best on this one. Now, I'm sure some of you are going, Reed, man, it makes 1,040 watts. That's pretty good. I mean, that's a fair amount of power. Yes, but the whole array is 5 kilowatts. So instead of this being a massively powerful system that can flow great things, lift immense heavy loads, well, it got cut off at the knees. Instead, we have the small car, the little itty-bitty econo box, moving along at 1/5 of the power of everything else. We are limited severely. It's the small trickling stream moving along here. This is a problem. We need to get that 5 kilowatts of power. But let's now talk about the other component in the system, the inverter. Now I've got it shown here, highlighted, blinking for you, so you know exactly what I'm talking about here. The inverter we have here is an Ames Power 4,000 watt pure sine wave inverter. It takes 24 volts DC and outputs 120 volts AC. Now this outputs only 120 volts AC, so it does not produce the 240 volts / 120 VAC power that most homes are wired with. In this case, you just got to do a little work to make certain that the panels are jumpered correctly. So there's no 200 volt appliances, but all 120 volt appliances it works well on. And being a sine wave inverter means it'll run the fridge, the freezer, all the sensitive electronics, TVs and all that without wearing out the motors horribly or producing a gosh awful hum. Modified sine wave inverters aren't very helpful for that. Now this has a really good surge potential at 12,000 watts, and given that it's been running in her little shack just fine, it seems to be fairly well made. I don't have a lot of experience with them, but this we're going to keep using and adapt.
If you've watched this far, I really appreciate it. And I hope you've learned a lot and gained a lot of knowledge from this. I hope that my explanations and sort of what we were talking about and going on sort of explains the issues she's been having with the system and why she's been having these issues. And I hope it is very helpful. Now, this video was a real big pain in the rear end to edit because I was doing something new. I've never sort of, cut clips out, paused, resumed videos, highlighted components, and so on and so forth. Really different. So totally new set of skills I can, clip onto my belt and say, hey, I know how to do that with video now. Video is a pain. Honestly, it's a real pain. So if you sit and watched all this thing and like the video, thank you. My hard work actually is useful for a change. Take care, everyone. This is Reed, out for now.